Welcome to the Low Stakes Podcast. With ticks are hot, the meat is smoked low and slow, and the stories are always medium rare. Hosted by Jeff Avgaris, fisherman and backyard barbecue master. Alongside co-host Dave Lodwig, a Star Wars-loving, baseball-obsessed pitmaster. And produced by the outdoorsman himself, Nate Cross. Quite possibly the greatest name in podcast. This is the Low Stakes Podcast.
August 24th, 2026, and I'm telling you the hot take today.
Bring it on.
It is hiking without a purpose is stupid.
Yeah.
Right?
Nobody hikes for fun.
No.
I told him this morning, I don't think this is a hot take.
It was hot in our morning meeting.
It's not hot among this group.
No. I mean, there is a subset of the crowd here in Montana that hikes for fun.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know a guy, real good friend named Chris, and it's on his bucket list to hike to the top of every major mountain here in western Montana. And for those of you who don't know, we're part of the Rocky Mountains over here. And
We have a few mountains.
yeah, we got a couple. So it's pretty exciting.
That's a purpose, though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, some people just hike for exercise.
Yeah, that's stupid.
So we were talking before we started recording. We were talking about a concert I went to last night, and went and saw Need to Breathe. The opening act was a husband and wife, Drew and Ellie Holcomb, and they're up there, they're talking, and they're kind of introducing themselves to us. And they said that they got there earlier in the day and decided to hike the M with their kids, and they'd never done that before. And they got to it, and they're like, "Oh, this is pretty easy. There's the M right there." And about halfway in, the kids were like crying and like miserable, and they're like, "Why did we decide to do this?" It was that point where it's like, do we turn back? Do we keep going?
We're not getting any closer.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how that hike feels.
It is, and they're like, God bless you guys that have done that multiple times. It's I used to hike the M once a week when I first got here because it's fantastic exercise.
It is.
And I would just count the switchbacks.
You've never?
Never once.
You've never once.
Really?
No.
The key is you count the switchbacks. There's 13 switchbacks, and so you count them off as you go. And it takes. I got it down to like 24 minutes to get up there. It was, and that was back in my leaner late 30s. But going back to what you said, I think the average person, you say like, "Hey, you want to go for a hike?" And they'll look at you like you're deranged. Like, why? What's at the end?
I feel that way too. Like we were talking about, we're hunters. So if you're going to go scout, or you're going to go hunting, or you're going to go help your buddy pack an animal out, yeah, let's go get it. Or you're going to go fishing. Nate brought up, hey, if I'm going to hike up and go fishing at a mountain lake, great. Got to have a purpose. Like, just like, hey, we're going to hike till we kind of feel tired, and then we're going to turn around and come back. I don't know.
Get a treadmill.
Get a treadmill.
Exactly. One of those ones that does the incline.
Yeah, you can watch a show. Then you have a purpose again.
Distraction. I think maybe you're missing the point.
Jeff has actually a gimbal that mounts to his backpack that holds an iPad.
Yeah, an iPad as he's walking. Sir, are you all right?
It's my carrot.
Chronically online.
Exactly. I can't miss an episode of Love Island. New episode dropped, but I got to get my steps in today.
That show's a different level. I've seen just a couple snippets of it. Whoo!
Oh yeah.
Don't lie.
I know.
You've watched every episode.
On my, I don't know, somebody's grave. I have not, but it is, the tidbits I've watched is like, whew, man, that's the bottom of society right there. That's as low as it gets. So guys, what's going on this week? Dave, what have you been up to?
Well, first of all, I brought a gift for you guys.
Oh, I like gifts.
Right.
Nate brought us cards not that long ago. I brought you a book.
Oh.
The Modern Gentleman.
The Modern Gentleman. It's full of all kinds of helpful tips on how to order the correct cocktail, how to be a refined gentleman in these modern times.
Yeah. Are you giving us saying something about us?
No, just, lending a helping hand.
I like that.
This will be really good for me.
It will be. I can tell you guys that is one of the best-selling books at Dollar Trees all across the country.
I was going to say it'll be good for me because about 2 of these topics apply to me. Three.
I can say
You
that
don't drink?
because
I don't drink either, really.
Yeah.
A little bit, but not much.
But I see on here how to make a killer cold brew coffee.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I am always looking for a new coffee there.
Yeah.
Agreed.
And then I'm going to read the chapter on why gentlemen should own a pen because
Yes.
I firmly agree with that.
Oh, yeah.
I
You never have you truly made it in life unless you own a Mont Blanc pen?
No.
see. I go for cross pens
Mm.
for obvious reasons.
I'm more of a Bic guy, but
He's like, I like crayons actually.
Have you ever been in a Mont? Do you know what I'm talking about? A Mont Blanc?
I do not know.
Oh, really? Mont Blanc is like it's like the Rolex of pens.
Yeah.
And so, like, we were in this upscale mall in Hawaii. I think the first time we went, and my wife's trying to rationalize buying a $200 tank top at Gucci, and I go into this Mont Blanc store, and they had an $11,000 pen there.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Does it write for itself?
No, it's a fountain pen, and yeah. But yeah, going back to what you said, every truly refined gentleman should have a top-notch pen.
I can see a gentleman walking into a dollar store in East Texas saying, "Hey, Jenny, we need to get this for the coffee table."
I think
I need to study up.
I actually just I found my favorite part of this book.
Oh.
Did you see the label of what genre this is?
Oh.
Diet and health.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, are you trying to say something here?
No.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is
What's
that
ASTD?
Is that one of those things that you need a medication for?
no, that's an STD.
STD. Get this book, you too can get a STD.
STD. See Chapter 7 to self-diagnose. Uh-oh. I was literally in Dollar Tree last week with your daughter.
That's her
And
favorite store.
Yeah, my daughter. They were begging me to go to Dollar Tree, and so it was. Your daughter came over for sleepover, and so I was like, okay. I'll be like, that's the cheapest entertainment that you could ever get. So I took him down to Dollar Tree, and I was walking through, and they had 2 copies of that book. Even if there was a 3rd copy, I wouldn't have bought it because I'm already
Yes.
The
yeah.
modern
a
gentleman.
modern gentleman.
This is actually his pen name.
It is.
He wrote it.
I did.
Jeff and I have some good memories at a dollar store.
We do.
Dave, probably not so much.
We should do an episode on that trip is what we should do.
Oh, man.
Oh my
I don't
gosh.
think Dave would like that.
Oh my gosh. We could talk about my scar.
We have video we could put up
The
on.
scar on his heart is the
That's right,
biggest
scar
one.
on his heart.
We'll leave this cliffhanger hanging and come back to it at a future
That's
episode.
what our second episode will be.
Yeah. Okay.
I love it.
So I got a great story from last week.
Good.
Since we're talking about last week.
Mhm.
So last week, I decided to make the switch in my internet service provider.
Ooh,
Yep.
big move.
Yeah, so there's a new company. I don't know if they're new, but they're finally offering service around here, and they have a 3-letter acronym, I believe.
Not STD.
No, I believe it stands for Trump derangement syndrome.
Say,
um,
I know exactly where he's going with this one.
yeah. So anyway, I signed up. They're offering fiber optic and a great deal where you sign up for a flat rate for the rest of your life, and so I did that. Well, the problem is then I had to cancel my previous internet service, which is an absolute nightmare to try to do. And so my previous internet service, I don't want to get in trouble here, but
Spectrum.
their name rhymes with Spectrum.
It starts with an S and ends with ectrum.
Spectrum.
With rectum.
Rectum. So I think Spectrum has gotten so notoriously bad at their customer service and all of that I sent you that video. Like I think it was 4 years ago. SNL did a skit where the guy's trying to cancel his cable with Spectrum, and he winds up with a new landline, and it is great. So anyway, I prepared myself for that. So I made the call to Spectrum, and it went exactly the way you think it would. And so I'm like, hey, I just need to cancel my internet service. And she's like, oh, no, I hate to hear that. You know, is there a reason? I said, oh, no, I just got some personal reasons. And so then she goes, and you know that they just work off a script, right? You know, so it's like flip to the page, like, okay, I got to deal with this. So was there a specific reason all this? And I just said, you know, it's like 30 seconds in, I said, I'm dying. I went to Kenya in October. I got a rare form of African rickets. And I don't have much time left, and I'm just trying to settle up my affairs. And
Seriously.
yeah, you can hear her brain lock up, where she was like, okay. Let me put you on hold. So she puts me on hold. Maybe a minute later, she comes back. Okay, I'm on the final screen here, and we got your service disconnected. And
Genius.
And she's like, my thoughts and prayers for you. I was like,
Thank you.
I said, thank you. So I said, so does one of my loved ones just drop this modem off at one of your stores? I canceled my internet service in under 3 minutes.
That's got to be a record.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
So
That's awesome.
I would encourage anybody that's making the switch to go ahead and use that. It would be hilarious if Spectrum's like, man, there's got to be this.
There's a rash of people just coming down with African rickets.
African rickets that are dying in Missoula. It's a pandemic.
That's awesome. I love it.
I did the same thing a number of years ago.
Yeah.
And but I made a huge mistake. I often use the phrase "yeah, no," just out of habit. I don't even think about it. And I said, they got the like, well, if you know, we can lower your service, and actually, if you bundle, you can get an even better discount. And I said, yeah, no, I would like to cancel my service. The person I was talking to only heard, yeah. And I am not kidding. The next bill was 3 times as much because they added all of the other stuff to my service. And so then I had to go through and say, 1, I'm not paying for this. And 2, I still want to cancel my service. I should have pulled out the African rickets.
You should have.
It would have worked.
Spectrum, I don't want your sponsorship, is the worst company ever.
Like, it must be just written in their company charter that we need to be the absolute worst at customer service that we could ever have.
Their training program is how can we make you suck worse at customer service? It's not how can we be better. They're horrible.
Well, I told you, we ran into each other at Costco after this. So where karma came back to get me is I'm stuck with the modem. And so I got to take the modem back. So I went into the local Spectrum store, people sitting around, all in there. And I'm just holding my modem. And I go up, and this guy walks up to me, and he goes, hey, what can we help you with? I said, I just got to turn this in. He goes, oh, okay, well, it'll be a 20 to 40 minute wait. And I looked at him, I said, was there like a process? No, I just scan it. And I'm looking at him, I'm like, so I could just hand it to you. Well, there's other people here that are waiting. Well, you could take it and set it down.
And then
after you're done helping them, well, if it's easier for you, you can just go take it over to our UPS store or to a local UPS store, and they'll ship it back over here to us for free. And I looked at him, and I was like, how would that be easier than me just handing it to you right now? And he was just like, he was flummoxed. And so I literally got so angry that he wanted me to wait 20 to 40 minutes, somewhere in there, that before he was done talking to me, I just turned around and walked out of the store. I went to UPS the next day. I handed it to them, and they're like, oh, you tried to turn this in over at the store. I said, yeah. I was telling him about it. And he literally, the guy at UPS just, click, and he was put it back there on a shelf. He's like, all right, well, thanks, man. And I was like, that's all it is? And he's like, yeah, they just scanned the barcode on it, and And so I could not wrap my head around the fact that Spectrum, I wasn't looking to, cut in line. He's literally standing face to face with me and just has to take it from
I
me.
think best, you should have turned into a UPS guy. You should have walked out the door. If you had a box, walk back in and be like, hey, I got this UPS delivery for you. And the guy be like, hand it to him just like Amazon does, and be like, all right, I need to take a picture to make sure that okay, have a good day. We'll see you next time.
like those guys who secretly serve you a summons to court. So anyway, I'm proud to say I am free from Spectrum.
Love it.
Yeah, it feels great.
Did you do the song and dance every year of calling and saying, hey, I'm going to cancel my service, it's getting too expensive, and they'd say, well, we'll give you a promotional price for another year, and then you have to do it again the next year?
You need to watch that SNL skit.
It's pretty good.
If you've not seen it, it's great. It's like, well, can I offer you 6 months of free Disney Plus? It's like, yeah. Congratulations on your new landline.
Yeah. I would literally, if I had a better option, I looked up your company, and they don't have service out at my house.
Yeah.
If there was a better option, I would pay more just to get rid of Spectrum. I mean, Spectrum, when I canceled my cable years ago, it was a process, and they're just poor. And we'll give you this for free. I don't even want stuff from you for free. I just want you to just cut everything out that I don't want. The only reason I'm using internet is because it's all my only option.
Yeah.
And just be done. Because, terrible company. Terrible company.
Yes.
So, yeah. What about you, Nate? Anything good going on?
I had another run-in with a printer. Man. Yeah, I tell you what. You want to talk about things that...
Oh.
No, I had a good week. I finally got my bow all finished up, so I'm ready to go hunting. I'm planning my hunting trip, and then I dropped it off. I had it tuned, and a little frustrated because the place where I had it done, they installed my arrow rest with one bolt, and normally it's two.
Mm-hmm.
And then to compensate for that, he just tightened down that one bolt like
super tight
with the wrath of Khan. And I shot like 2 arrows through it, and the rest comes loose.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I'm redoing all that. So my weekend was largely just tinkering around and having fun.
That's good.
I didn't do anything too crazy.
No, that's good. I have nothing exciting to add either. My wife is a teacher, so she's getting ready to go back to school. So I spent 3 days up at the school painting and helping her get set up. So no exciting stories here either. It's a pretty boring time around here. But since we're so boring, liven us up with our first sponsor, Dave.
Well, no pressure. Gentlemen, are you looking to buy a home? Looking to sell a home? Or just looking for someone who can explain why
I'd rather you call me modern gentleman. But
modern gentleman?
We are now modern gentlemen.
Man, you just threw off my rhythm. Are you just looking for someone who can explain why your neighbor's house is worth $150,000 more than yours? Well, reach out to Rose Chadwell today and get the expert help you need. Currently, Rose is recovering from hernia surgery, but don't worry. She's still putting the move in real estate. She may not be lifting heavy boxes right now, but she's still working hard through the pain, negotiating deals and helping clients from her bed, in between the nauseating pain and nightmarish discomfort of her surgically repaired torso. So whether you're buying, selling, or just nosy about your neighbor's house values, reach out to Rose today at rose@bigskybroker's.com. And remember, when it comes to real estate, she knows how to close a deal without blowing a stitch.
Wasn't one of the promotions that we ran for her that she would help you move?
Yeah, exactly.
So that one's
you're
done.
going to have to wait
That
a few
one's
weeks.
done.
that one's not happening.
Have to wait a few weeks.
Thank you, Rose. I hope you heal up quickly. So we're going to talk a little bit about today about the good old days, nostalgia. Were the good old days really the good old days? You know, when we think back, when you get to be our age, you start thinking about the fond memories of the past and how things were different, and the positives of what it could be and how different it is. And they don't have it as hard as we did, or they don't have it as good as we did now. And so we're going to talk about that today, because that's what we think about a lot. So, so I would say, just starting us off here, lawn darts. Okay. Yeah, we're going to start with
All right,
lawn darts.
All right.
Lawn darts, getting rid of lawn darts was a positive when we're talking about nostalgia. Now, it was a lot of fun. I played with them in the 80s. But who thought that was a good idea? Like, honestly, who thought that was a good idea? You probably don't know lawn darts. They were probably outlawed.
By the time I was kind of like playing yard games, we had the like streamer with the sandbag on the end.
Mhm.
You'd still throw it up and it would come down.
Concussion instead of death.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
Mhm.
But I have actually used a few genuine sets of lawn darts,
Mhm.
and they're terrifying.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, man, it's like a small javelin.
Yeah.
With a tail on it.
And you stand on the target.
Yeah.
Like they go straight up and straight down.
Yeah.
Did you play lawn darts?
Yeah, a few times. I
Yeah.
got more into bocce ball.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's not dangerous.
No, it's not because people wised up. I don't know that
Shouldn't
lawn
be
darts-
dangerous. But man, you can really do some work with those. I'm just saying.
Well, I mean, even there's a certain element of risk to horseshoes as well.
Yeah, but you're not throwing a sharp edge object up in the air, and
It's still a heavy blunt object, but
there's no equivalency there.
I feel like Dave has a horseshoe story to share.
no, I'm trying to wrap my head around, like, out of all of the differentiating topics you could discuss to show, like, life back then versus life now, you went with lawn darts. Let's just
I'm not ranking them 1 to 10. That's just the first one that came to my mind, Dave.
nostalgia. So Jeff and I are vastly older than you,
Mm-hmm.
and Nathan
Significantly.
and so maybe we're more susceptible to the idea of nostalgia than maybe you are, because it seems like there's like a 30-year cycle. Once you're 30 years removed from something that was important to you, that's when the nostalgia really kicks in. And the way I qualify that is that's one of the reasons the movie Back to the Future was so popular. Back to the Future comes out in 1985, and the whole gimmick of that movie is to take somebody from 1985 and put him in 1955. And that's what they did. And so everybody that grew up in the 50s, like our parents, loved that movie because they got instant nostalgia. Hearing the song Mr. Sandman and seeing the soda shop and all of those kinds of things. And so that's what made it so captivating, is that there was this 30-year journey back in time. For a lot of us that had our foundational memories made in the 90s, we're now 30 years removed from the 90s.
Yeah, we are.
And so we're in this sort of nostalgia bubble right now. To your point, I think the reason why we love nostalgia is because we want to revisit feelings and memories that we had from the past during those important moments that we had, particularly in our youth. But we always view them probably better than what they actually were.
Yeah.
So for me, like, looking back, where I take my nostalgia goggles off, I guess the opposite, where I would say things were better in the past, is I remember a time before we were addicted to constant information. And that's the single biggest thing I miss about 30 to 40 years ago was I vividly remember growing up pre-internet.
Yep.
And not having this constant need to fill myself with trivial information all day long.
Mm-hmm. That was going to be one of mine too.
Yeah, I started reading a book, and
Jeff, books. That is a book.
yeah, exactly.
Oh, okay, thanks.
It's lots of little pages with words. on
Thank
it.
you. Do they sum up something? Yeah,
Yes,
I
exactly.
like that. Yep.
It's full of syntax. I started reading a book. I love this novel series written by a couple of authors, and so I started reading the new book, and I realized it's so much harder for me to read now because I have this constant compulsion while I'm laying there to check my phone. And 30 years ago, I didn't have that.
Yeah.
I would sit down, like I read the original Jurassic Park novel and sat there and just blew through it in a weekend.
Yeah.
And because you didn't have that constant distraction. To me, that's the single biggest thing I miss the most.
I agree.
But I also understand that the flip side is having that access to information is incredibly helpful and useful today as professionals, as people, for students. If you had to do a research project 30 years ago, you were taking a sleeping bag to the public library because you were going to be there for a while.
It is the definition of a double-edged sword.
It is.
But doesn't that change society in a different way, that it was harder? Like, you had to work for it. Like, if you were going to have to do a research paper, you're like, this is going to take some time. Now it's Google. AI is going to spit a lot of this out for you. They're spending a quarter of the effort that we had to. And part of learning, part of education is learning that you need to put out effort and work hard to get a big product at the end, or a successful outcome.
Yeah.
Whereas right now it's like, I can put in passive effort and get the same outcome and then move on to the next thing, So, I mean, it's not just the information, it's the effort to put out and learning that effort.
Yeah. When I was in high school, my high school growing up was literally across the street from the big public library.
Mm-hmm.
And so if I had to do a research project or if I had to write a paper or whatever, I would go over there after school if I didn't have any sports practice, or after practice if I did. And I would have to do research. And by research, you would have to like go through their system to find books on subject matters, go find the book, rifle through the book. And it was an hours-long process to find whatever tidbit of information you needed. And I did appreciate that you had to put the work in.
Yep.
But I also understand that now you can get that exact same information in 4 seconds compared to 4 hours.
Yep. Which is a big thing. One of the big things that people don't remember, specifically about the 80s. In the 90s, it got better, but it was still, I don't want to say dangerous, but it was harder to live then. Okay.
Yes.
So here, let me give you some examples. One, when there were wrecks, like a car wreck in the 80s, there were like tragic deaths.
Yeah.
We didn't have car seats really. So children died a lot more in car wrecks than they do now. I saw a funny video breaking for something that's funny, but I saw a newscast for when they finally outlawed drinking and driving, which was in the 80s. And they interviewed these people, and this guy's obviously from the South. It's like, oh man, what kind of U.S. do I live in where I can't have a couple beers on the way home from work? You know what I mean?
On the way home from picking up the kids from school.
And it's honestly got truth. And the lady's like, I just don't think we live in a free society anymore if we can't have a couple beers when we're driving down the road, Do
you remember, going back to your point, do you remember in high school, this happened for me, is there was always an annual special presentation where they came in and they would show you video footage and slideshow of car wrecks and body parts and all of this stuff. Do they still do that in school?
I don't think so.
I doubt it. We had a little bit of that, like those public safety announcement videos and stuff when I was in high school, but it was never very graphic or anything. And I've gone on YouTube and watched some of the old ones, especially like you look at like factory worker PSAs, and it's like a guy's getting pulled through like a wood chipper, and like it's obviously faked, but like there's body parts and blood and stuff flying everywhere, and they're like, don't wear loose clothing around the lathe, and you're like, okay, I won't.
This auto accident, and it was always about like, don't drink and drive safe and all this. It wasn't fake.
No.
They were showing us slides of actual severed limbs and like, hey, here's a shot of when they had to use the jaws of life.
Yeah.
You see how this puncture wound is going through this guy's chest? Like, parents had to sign a release form, like a waiver.
And you never had to sign release forms back then.
Yeah, exactly. But they don't do that today.
They don't do it anymore. Yeah. No, but it was still a dangerous time. We didn't have the medical advancements still. I mean, people think about, the 20s or the 1800s. Even in the 80s, there was a lot of stuff that we just didn't have the medical advancement. And if, you die, it was a lot more likely to die from stuff, so.
Oh, yeah. And that's one of the positives about today.
Yeah. Like,
we have to, no matter how fond we are of the past, today, the medical advancements are it's life altering the way medicine is advanced. I've had 3 arthroscopic knee surgeries. 30 years ago, I would have had total knee replacement at that point, and been in, a leg brace probably the rest of my life. And now they just do it with lasers and robots, and it's crazy.
I remember I tell this story quite a few times. I've told it in the past, but in the early '90s, laptops started to become more of a thing, and they were these big old bricks, and they had a tiny screen, and I mean, even in the early '90s, they weren't great, but they worked, and they were a good thing to have. But Microsoft and eventually Apple, they started to put out these design enhancement things, and the big design that they talked about is one day you'll be able to have a book that you walk around with that'll be one screen, and you'll be able to watch TV on it. You'll be able to entertain yourself with it, with different stuff. You'll be able to write papers, and all of it you'll be able to just stick in your notebook pad, and it'll be as light as a book. And everybody's like, that's so cool. And then Microsoft came out with an actual visual thing that's probably around, I would guess, 98, 99, 2000, where they had this example where it was like a book, and it opened like a book, and there was two screens, and they called it something. I don't remember what they called it, but they were like, this is the future of computing, and you're gonna put it in your bag. And I remember thinking at the time, my life would be so much better if I could have something like that. I mean, that would be so fun. You don't have to be married to your living room. You can watch TV or you're on. See, so awesome. And
remember when I talked about the gimbal arm with the iPad?
Yeah, exactly.
I wasn't kidding.
But get those augmented reality eyeglasses and just walk around with
yeah,
those.
right. But then the iPad comes out, and then phones and iPhones and everything else. But so that's the kind of stuff that it's like, all right, we yearned for the technology we have today. Like, it wasn't like we were oblivious to technology in the 80s or 90s, especially. We yearned for it, and then they developed it, and now we can debate whether that's been a good thing for society or not. But so that was another thing that in my mind, it's like, okay, I think about the good old days, but I just was always looking for something else. It was always, and now with the way technology's gone, they think up stuff before you can even dream about it.
Well, I think we always talk about the quote, like you just said, the good old days.
Mm-hmm.
And Stranger Things became a whole phenomenon because it presented the 80s as the good old days. And I remember the big thing that came out of the visual that comes out of Stranger Things are the kids just riding their bikes around town unsupervised,
Mm-hmm.
showing up wherever and all that stuff. And that's become this sort of like symbolism of simpler times. Well, the truth is, back then, we had way more kids go missing.
We did.
Right? Like, that was, like, if you ever bought a carton of milk in the 1980s, it always had some missing kid's face on it. And
Yeah, the threat was, if you keep acting this way, you're going to end up on a milk carton.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's not that it was a safer time, like a simpler time. It was just we had less resources available to us to actually deal with that stuff. And so we just kind of shrugged our shoulders like, well, you better have 6 kids because, 2 of them are going to die or go missing.
Acceptable losses.
Yeah, it's like there's a rate of return there that you just got to be aware of.
That's totally right. And I mean, if you look at it, the number of kids that went missing compared to the population,
Mhm.
I'm sure that statistic is through the roof back then compared to now, but all of that said, nostalgia, when you think of nostalgia, you think of the positive side of the past. And so I think for guys like you and I, and even Nate,
Oh, yeah.
you think about this. If I could put you back into 1985 today, would you do it?
Would I know everything I know right now?
No.
Oh, then no. I would if that's always I've seen that thrown out, like on social media or whatnot. Like, would you want $1 million or the ability to go back to 18 and know everything that you know right now?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I would go back to 18 and know everything I
Absolutely.
know right now.
Buy every Google stock you
Yeah,
can.
as much Microsoft and Apple stock as I possibly could. That's worth a heck of a lot more than $1 million.
Yeah.
Bet on the Cubs winning the World Series in 2016.
Yeah.
All of that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
But that's Back to the Future too.
Right,
That's what
exactly.
the whole point of that is.
It's more the point of would you live like you were in 1985 if you could as a society compared to 2026?
I think if we could readopt some of the values we had back in 1985 and implement them. Here's what I find ironic. There is a pull back to that time period right now.
Totally.
So I went to American Eagle in the mall over the weekend, and I walked in, and Heather was with me, my wife, and I was looking around and like, oh my gosh, this is exactly the way the store looked in 1994.
Yeah, it is.
Like they're selling the exact same clothes that we all wore in 1994.
Totally.
We were driving with our son last night. He went with us to drop me and my daughter off at this concert, and he's like, yeah, I haven't been listening to much rap music lately. I'm like, oh, what are you listening to? Oh, Phil Collins. I was like, huh? Like No Jacket Required? Yeah, that's a great album. It's like, and Creed was huge last year with kids.
I think the nostalgia loop that you talked about, 30 years, I think it's getting shorter because there are, teenagers, high schoolers that are starting to have nostalgia for their childhood, and they're 18, 17, and so I think that loop is starting to get a little bit shorter, where I think you were right in the past, and maybe it's because of the information we have access to, maybe because it's a little bit, I was joking around with some of the kids in my youth group at church, and like they all have videos of them as kids doing silly stuff, and like just they're super embarrassing videos, and we laugh at them, and it's funny. I don't have that.
Yeah.
Because it was like they were recorded on tapes, if my parents recorded anything at all. And so I have pictures. And, so I think, and then going farther back, it's like most families didn't even have a camera in like the 70s. And so I think that nostalgia loop is getting shorter and shorter as it's easier to go back to the quote unquote good old days.
So you answer that question. Would you go back?
Well, I wouldn't go back to 86. Because I wasn't born.
For you, it's like,
Yeah, exactly.
what, 2013?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's about, I don't know, 8 years ago. Yeah, I'd go back. I think if I could go back to my childhood not knowing what I know now, I don't think I would.
Mm-hmm.
I think I would have the same answer as Dave. But if it was the Back to the Future thing, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, that'd be amazing. I have nostalgia for like the experiences I had as a kid, and those are things that I can still, for the most part, do now. We can go with my family up to Flathead Lake. And so I kind of get to relive some of my nostalgia, which also might be another reason why I think that loop is getting shorter. It's getting easier also to go back to some of those things. And so like, I have fond memories of grown up going up to Flathead Lake, and now I am doing that again. And so I'm kind of reliving that nostalgia, whereas it's a bit more challenging, riding the bike around the neighborhood. A 50-year-old's not going to necessarily go do that. And so like, it's a bit harder to like recapture some of those experiences. So I feel like maybe that's why, but I like where we're at now.
Yeah.
I enjoy my life as it is right now. And I try not to look back with too much of a rose-colored glass as far as my childhood goes. But maybe that's just because I have easier access to it. I can kind of relive those experiences, and so I don't feel I need to.
Yeah, I mean, and that's probably the age gap with all of us here, because you grew up in the technology age.
I did, yeah.
I mean, you don't know the time before.
I remember not having internet, and I remember getting dial-up, and then I remember upgrading to DSL,
Mm-hmm.
and then I remember upgrading to cable. Speaking of Spectrum being terrible, and so like.
We're going to get a cease and desist from Spectrum at one of these points.
There's no way. They have so many people that are trashing on them. We're small fish in a big pond. But yeah, but I don't have the experience of like coming into adulthood without those things.
Yeah.
We got cable or dial-up when I was, 7 years old. We got DSL when I was 11. We got, cable when I was, in junior high. And so like it kind of progressed with me as I was growing up. So that's probably also true. I don't feel the need to go back because it wouldn't change that much.
Yeah. My answer to it is I probably would go back. I mean, I've thought about this quite a bit. The things that would hold me back are not what you would think. It's the creature comforts that would hold me back. So people don't realize, like, a house in 1985, it was still at the part where if you were taking a shower and somebody flushed the toilet, the water went cold. Yeah. It was still at the part where, if you owned an 85 brand new 1985 Chevy pickup, it wasn't fuel injected. It has carburetor. And if you went from 1,000 feet elevation to 5,000 feet elevation, it ran different, and you were constantly having to mess with your vehicle. The tires weren't as good, so your tires wore and ballooned. I mean, I remember replacing tires all the time back then. It's just your life was just harder. Like you didn't have the same creature comforts.
You didn't have air conditioning.
Yeah, I mean, air conditioning was like a high end thing.
Yeah, like
totally.
if your house had air conditioning, you were rich. Like if you had a car with air conditioning, that was like part of the platinum package.
Totally.
All this stuff. And so when I have memories of childhood, a lot of times I'm just hot and sweaty. Mm-hmm. And it was miserable back then.
But I think about the opposite of that is like my biggest recreations are hunting and fishing. Hunting and fishing 40 years ago was stupid good. Like stupid good. Like people, if you went elk hunting in Montana in 1985, it wasn't, am I going to get a bull? It's like, how long am I going to hold out for how big of a bull am I going to get? If you went fishing, it was just, I mean, Montana specifically went through a goofy time because they did planters in the river and then they took them out in like the early 90s and to go back to wild. And so there's like a 4 or 5 year period where it was kind of bad. But anyways, if you went fishing, for the most part, it was like, how many hundreds of fish am I going to catch today? It was just, so my recreation, what I enjoyed doing was way better 40 years ago than it is today. A skier would say skiing's way better now than it was 40 years ago because the ski lifts are better. They go faster. They're more comfortable, there's more people, but it's better. So that's why I would probably say yes, but I think I'd have to think about it harder.
It would be a hard, if it was actually possible, it would be a hard decision to make. I'm in the same boat where like most of my activities would have probably been better, 20, 15 years ago even. Like I remember growing up on Flathead Lake and we'd go out fishing and yeah, I mean 3 60 quart coolers full before morning, full of fish. And so like, yeah, that'd be nice to go back to. But at the same time, I really like my rod that I just bought last week.
No doubt.
That's like a really nice, like the technology that we have now. Same thing with like my rifles and my bow.
Yep.
And so I'm like, it would be hard because I'd be like, better hunting. That sounds awesome. Well, worse rifle.
Yeah. There's no 500-yard shots.
Yeah. What do I want to give up here?
Going back to what you were saying a few minutes ago about kids, they have videos of themselves from the past. 2 weeks ago, I had forgotten, but there's video of me on YouTube from 30 years ago.
Oh, man.
And I rediscovered it. And so going back to the nostalgia, this was one of those moments where I actually did. I was like, oh, I missed that. So during college, me and 4 buddies participated in a talent show where we recreated the scene from Wayne's World 2, the YMCA Village people scene. And we did the whole dance routine from that. And so I was the cowboy. Mm-hmm. And then my buddies were all there. That video is on YouTube.
We need to find that.
Yeah. I'll show it to you guys when we're done recording. It was great. And so we did that. Remind you that this was a Christian college I went to 30 years ago. And the students loved it. The faculty who were judges, if they could have killed us with a stare, I would have dropped dead in that moment. Like their hatred was so thick and rich, you could have sliced it and put it on white bread. It was great. But okay, so I was thinking about the whole nostalgia thing. Here's one thing I think was better 30 to 40 years ago, and one thing I think is better now. And for me, the one thing I think was better in the past, I think movies were better.
I agree.
And it's not. I went and saw the new Spider-Man, which is going to break so many
Every
records.
record,
And
yeah.
it is a fantastic movie, but there's something missing in it that when I go to watch a film, and even my son said this. I remember the first time my son watched, I think it was Jaws, and he said, "Dad, why were movies so much better back when you were a kid?" And he meant it. He was sincere about it. There's a missing sort of magic in old Hollywood that you don't get today, because there's almost like the amount of CGI used, it's almost like soulless. And I get that it's incredible technology, but I kind of miss the way you had to work around the limitations of special effects 30 years ago. To me, like the culmination of old Hollywood was Jurassic Park in 93, I think is when it came out. Because, yeah, they used incredible CGI in that movie, and that was probably the most realistic CGI that had ever been used at that point. But there was still full animatronic dinosaurs in that movie that took artistry. I think Stan Winston, who's always been the go-to guy in Hollywood for realistic models, did all of that.
Mhm.
And there's a magic to old Hollywood that I think just cannot get replicated.
Before you move on to your second point of something that's better now, do you think some part of that might be because the cream rises to the top? And so we look back on older movies, music, any kind of media. I think it's more specifically in that world. And it's like, oh man, things were so much better back in whatever time period, 80s, 90s. And it's just because we only remember the really good stuff, the standout stuff, where there's been horrible movies and there's been really good movies in every era. It's just we're living through the good and the bad now, but we can look back on and remember only the good.
Did you ever sneak into an R-rated movie when you were a kid?
No, I did not.
Yeah. So that was a big part of growing up, right? Like, I remember the first time I saw RoboCop. Well, RoboCop came out, I was like 11 or 12 years old. And so to get in there, you had to go buy a ticket, you and your buddies to, Bambi 2 or whatever it was. And then you just hop over. And nobody paid attention, right? So then you're in there. So there was always like this rush, this thrill that, oh, I'm in RoboCop. And, oh, my gosh, this is violent. And let's watch it again. Yeah. Or Predator. Or, Rambo, whatever it was. You had to work to see it.
Yeah.
Nowadays, you don't work to see anything. It's like, unless you monitor your kids, they're going to stream anything they wanted. And so there was always a little bit of a thrill seeing, like, Aliens. First time I saw Aliens, I had to sneak into it because it was rated R. And
I do agree. I think we talked about this at one point in an episode where you said that you would go to a movie in theaters multiple times in the theater. That has changed. I agree with that totally. Like, for me, the Spider-Man movie, I'm not going to watch it in theaters. I'm going to just wait for it to come out on streaming. And so I think that is a big part of it too. And that's an experience that younger people don't have. But I just wonder with this discussion on nostalgia, if we feel like, and I even feel this for, the late 90s and early 2000s, I'm like, oh man, things were so much better back then. But then I wonder, is it actually that they were better, or is it just I only remember the good stuff?
Well, one thing is, and I think this goes with what you're saying, it kind of goes how movies kind of went how comedy's gone, right? So we've had to up the game for people on the shock value, right? So it used to be like Andrew Dice Clay was a one-off, you know what I mean? But with comedy, it was relatively clean. And now, go listen to Nikki Glaser for 10 minutes and you're like, wow.
I need to go to a confession.
Yeah, it's like, and so we're just upping and upping. So the CGI thing, it used to be like Jaws was like, wow, that's really cool stuff,
Oh, yeah.
But now we need like this unbelievable over the top thing, or else we're like, that's lame,
Yeah, you used to listen to, like Bill Cosby's albums back in the 80s. So wholesome. Just real good family entertainment.
I will say Eddie Murphy was so good.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Raw is still like my favorite stand-up show. It was so good. Oh man.
There is something to be said for there are movies that were made even as little as 10 years ago that could not be made today.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Like just it would not fly. There's, I think and this isn't 10 years ago, but I think of a good example is Blazing Saddles. Like
Never gonna be made.
never would be made.
Tropic
now.
Thunder.
Yeah.
Tropic Thunder is another
Tropic
example.
Thunder
yeah.
is one of the funniest movies ever made.
Mhm.
And could you imagine the blowback? I mean, Robert Downey Jr.
Oh, he's still getting heat for that.
He's
Yeah.
still getting heat for that, but that was so funny.
Oh, so good.
It was so good.
So I think that does play to your point, Dave, of there is an aspect of we did lose something.
We've
along
become
the way.
way too sensitive.
Yeah.
We really have. The one thing I do think is better today is I think it's so much easier to manage your finances today.
Yeah.
I'd agree.
So my son, he's 17. He's got some stocks. He invested in Nike. I made him invest in.
Nike. That was a good investment.
Yeah, exactly. But he was adamant. I want to get Nike stock. All right.
Down 80%.
Yeah. Let's keep track of that.
It's a lesson.
And he got stock in AST Space Mobile, which I also have stock in, and that's performed outstanding. And he was like, "This is today's youth." He's like, "I want to get Palantir stock."
Yeah.
That's the Israeli Defense Fund.
Oh, was it really?
Yeah. So I was like, "Oh, okay."
Okay.
So here's the thing, though. He's 17. He has a stock portfolio. He also has some mutual funds, and he's got a widget on his phone, and so he's just constantly, "Oh, my stock's up, my stock's down." Did we do that at 17? No. I can log in every single day, buy and sell mutual funds and stocks, depending on how the market's going, and manage it without the use of a stockbroker, without the use of, these guys that day trade. And we couldn't do that 30 years ago. I have so much more control over my personal finances now than a generation ago did.
True.
Which I think is a good thing.
That is a good thing. Yeah.
With one caveat that while it's easier, I agree, to manage your finance, it's also a lot easier to lose everything.
It is. It is.
Because you get
Crypto's where it's
yeah,
at.
exactly. So that would be if I was going to pick one thing that was better back in the day versus now, related to what you've said, I would almost like flip that a little bit, because there's some things in the financial market with the rise of AI, cryptocurrencies, everybody's their own trader, that I'm like, that's dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
But I do see just the management aspect, because even when I was, I took a financial math class in high school because I did not want to take calculus. And so it was, we had a whole section on balancing your checkbook.
Mm-hmm.
I don't balance my checkbook now because I don't write checks, and
Mm-hmm.
I can on my phone, I can pull up, I can see every transaction. It automatically is like pulled out of my account. I don't have to wait a month for the check to go through or something like that. And so I do agree, management side of things, so much better,
Mm-hmm.
even from when I was, a teenager. That comes with some risks, but you don't get reward without risk. So I could see that point. I agree with it.
Yeah, for sure. Well, it's a fun conversation, guys. If you are listening to this, go on Facebook or Instagram on our post for this episode and comment below. What are you nostalgic of? What's good or bad? And if you could, would you go back to 1985? And let us know. We'd love to hear. So, Dave, give us our second sponsor.
During the settlement of Montana, several mining towns were established here in western Big Sky country. In the bustling town of Garnett, a mysterious man appeared one September afternoon in 1897. After renting a room at the town saloon, Jedediah Wigglesworth began to peddle his wares to the town folk. What was his miracle cure that captured the attention of the people of Garnett? Why, it was a brand new hair and brain elixir. The Old West was hard on the hairlines of those who staked their claims, so the appeal of regrowing lost hair made the miracle elixir sell fast. Here's the thing. It actually worked. For the next 15 years, Garnett became known for two things: precious gems in the mines and healthy, luxurious locks of hair. After the Great Garnett Fire of 1912, Jedediah disappeared, taking his hair serum with him. What people don't know was that he had carved his recipe for the elixir in the underside of his bed in the saloon. Luckily, the good people at Mystery Meadows discovered the recipe for Wigglesworth's hair serum on a recent trip to the modern ghost town. So if you're struggling with thinning hair and receding scalp lines, visit mystery-meadows.com today. Order some of their historic hair serum and get back to life with a full scalp.
I love that truth in advertising right there. I'm loving it a lot.
Hey, I mean,
you know?
is it called the Wigglesworth hair serum?
No, but it should be.
It should be. It should be.
It should be. So we want to talk about today is the weather. So why do middle-aged men love the weather so much? El Nino, if you've been watching the news, we're primed for the strongest El Nino since 1850 when they started taking measurements of this. So a short version of El Nino is it's warming in the central Pacific off the coast of Mexico. When it's warmer down there, there's more moisture that comes up, but the jet streams don't move up and push the storms as far up as the northern to like Canada and to us up here in Montana. But there's mixed results on what that is. So one, we're going to talk about why do men love the weather so much. Dave over here with his sound effects tells you it's not super exciting.
I cannot talk about El Nino without picturing Chris Farley. I am El Nino, which is Spanish for the Nino.
But historically, and we're here in Montana, so we'll talk about Montana. Historically, El Nino says that it's supposed to be warmer, drier. But historically in Montana, from history, historical is from history.
Yeah, generally speaking.
Is that we've had big winters when there's been a super strong El Nino. So Nate was a young gentleman, 2-3 years old the last time there was anything close to this strong El Nino, and that was in 1997. And when I moved to Montana, to Missoula here, I worked at the local newspaper here, and they would speak of how on Higgins Bridge, the snow was so deep, they had front end loaders that were scooping the snow and dumping them into the Clark Fork River. Yeah. So we haven't had that kind of a winter since I've lived here in 11 years. We've had a couple good winters. I've had 3 feet of snow in my lawn before, but that was maybe twice in 11 years.
We actually have. Maybe I'll try to dig this up and we can post it. But we have a picture of me as a 3-year-old sitting on a snowbank, and my dad is shoveling, and I am sitting at his as a 3-year-old at his eye level.
Oh, cool.
And it's not snow that he's like shoveled up. That's the snow depth.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in a little sled or something, and so I'm sitting on top of the snow at his eye level, and my dad's 6 foot something, and so like it's not a few feet of snow.
Yeah.
This is like 5-6 feet of snow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, our first winter here was legit. It's actually what led to me having my role with the police department, the weather that year. So it was winter 2013 going into 2014, and that was the year we had the avalanche up on Mount Jumbo.
I remember that.
And but before that, had never experienced a Montana winter before, and the amount of snow was crazy. I remember, to your point, like driving down Broadway and the snow drifts piled in the side were up around 6 feet, like easily. You couldn't see people walking on the sidewalk because the snow had been piled up so high. I remember it was probably early January of 2014. I was going to go to the gym on a Saturday morning. It was probably around 8:30, and I walked outside, and it was -11, and I went, no,
never mind.
I went back inside. I'm like, I'm not going anywhere. And but there was a legitimate avalanche in town within city limits,
and people died, right?
Yeah, one lady died. So it took out an apartment complex over on of Mount Jumbo, and a lady died from it, and it was started by somebody that was up there snowboarding. You know, it's not a snowboarding trail, but there was so much snow that it literally, there was an avalanche. And
to put into perspective just how much snow is, I actually used good old Google on this. So the winter of 96-97 stands as Missoula's longest and snowiest winter on record. It produced a record 122 consecutive days with snow, so a little over 4 months of snow on the ground, and a seasonal total of 111 inches of snowfall. Our average snowfall in Missoula is like 42 inches. So
yeah, this isn't like up in the mountains. This is talking about
in
the
Missoula.
valley.
Yeah.
floor. Yeah.
So it covered the ground for, like I say, 122 straight days, 111 inches, and there's like message boards on Reddit and everywhere else talking about this winter. It was massive year.
Those are the type of winters where it's like, yeah, let's move to Florida.
Yeah, no doubt.
Arizona's looking pretty good right
I
now.
know. I know. Why am I here?
Yeah.
You know, but we're so due. Last year was bizarre.
I hated last winter.
Last year was depressing. I
was.
love a good snowfall. It just makes everything seem calm and still.
Yeah.
There's just something peaceful about it. By day 73, maybe
It's a little tough.
we could that's when you're like, which one of my children are we going to have to eat?
Yeah.
Well, the big one's got way more muscle on him, but the little one,
It'll be easier to catch.
she'll be a lot easier to catch and won't put up nearly the amount of fight. And so that's what you have to do.
You do what you gotta.
You know, we're due for a big winter.
Yeah, we are.
We really are. It might help the housing market here in Missoula. Rose, help us out there, but chase off a lot of these, like we complained about Californians moving in, I think, last episode. And one of those types of winters really makes people second guess.
Reconsider. Oh, yeah.
Like, oh, wait a second. Where do I live?
We need it for all the reasons we have, but the higher likelihood. So what our discussion here is against what the meteorologists say. So meteorologists say that we're supposed to have a warm, drier winter, but we typically have a bigger winter of these. But where it is a strong possibility of a major winter is in the Southern Rockies. Well, they need it way worse than we need it. Like Las Vegas the lights are going to turn off soon if we don't start getting more water behind Hoover Dam.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they need some big water years, and they need multiple in a row to try to get it going. So anything that feeds into the Colorado River, I would love to see them just get dumped on this winter. And they say from El Nino that's where should get the colder, wetter winter and have big time snow. So I hope for their sake that they do get that, because it's important.
I actually love shoveling snow.
Really? Well,
Yeah, I do.
Let me give you my address.
So I honestly, I did not shovel snow one time last year.
I didn't
Last
either.
winter.
I
hated that.
I changed the carburetor in my snowblower, and that was the first time I'd done that.
Yeah.
And I was so proud of myself because this is a small engine repair, I did in my garage, and I was so excited to use my snowblower.
And you didn't use it.
Didn't use it one time.
Yeah.
Didn't use it one time, and I'm like, I'm probably gonna have to change out my carburetor again this year.
Yeah,
So,
because it's sat.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's just sat.
Our house has a south-facing driveway,
yeah.
and so like last year we got a couple dustings here and there, but literally as soon as the sun came over the mountain, it was just gone instantly. And so I never had to shovel. I do remember. I want to say it was 2019. We had a pretty good winter, and we were living in Lolo at the time, and I have a picture of me like shoveling the snow up above onto the snowbank, and I'm reaching up with I'm 6'5". I'm reaching up with a shovel as high as I can go, and I'm throwing the snow a couple more feet above that. So that was a good winter. I really loved that one. I do remember the winter of 13-14 because that was my first year at college. I went to school in Wyoming, and I got stuck driving for Christmas break or Thanksgiving break, Christmas break, and spring break that winter. I got stuck both ways. So I got stuck and had to like get a hotel in Gillette or Bozeman or Billings 6 times that winter because of how crazy it was.
Oh yeah.
And speaking of nostalgia, snow removal in 1985 was way worse than it is.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Way worse.
I do like when we get a big snowfall because aside from like I said, peaceful and all of this stuff, it makes you feel like you're almost like a rugged survivalist.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, because like, every
Even
time
though you go back inside your house
I
with
know.
the nice warm.
every time when we get a big snowfall and there's this feet of snow, when I go to check my mail, I'm ready in case that's the ending scene from Legends of the Fall pops up again, where where Brad Pitt's just out in the field and the bear attacks him, and so I'm ready in my robe to fight a bear in order to get my mail that I ordered from Amazon.
It removes guilt too. Like in August, you feel guilty sitting inside watching a movie, but if there's snow on the ground and it's a mess, you're like, let's just stay in this Sunday afternoon. We got to go to church, but after church, let's just stay in this afternoon and watch a movie or something.
Yes, church.
Okay, Dave, give us our third sponsor.
Is your yard looking less like a beautiful garden and more like nature gave up? Are you tired of constantly replacing your mulch, pulling weeds, and wondering where all your money went? Then it's time to get rubber mulch, the landscaping material that says, I'm here for the long haul. Unlike ordinary wood mulch, rubber mulch doesn't break down nearly as quickly, helping your landscape stay looking sharp season after season. Hey, Bob, what kind of mulch is that? Why, rubber, of course. Rubber? Yep. So can I bounce my kids on it? Bowman Landscaping can get you the rubber mulch that looks great and keeps your flower beds covered with constantly hauling in another truckload of wood chips. And because it's rubber, you know what that means. It's got tireless staying power.
No.
That one was written by AI.
No.
Thank you.
All right, here's the deal. You guys give me your looks of scorn. This is what, week 15, 16 episodes of doing this. I have done every promo.
It is.
Everyone
good at it.
You're very good at it.
I'm going to throw the challenge out. Here's what I think we should do for our next episode.
I'm not taking the challenge.
Oh, you coward. I think, number one, we should do an entire episode of Hot Takes next week.
Okay.
But I want you two to do the promos.
Oh.
You guys,
all of them?
Yeah, all three of them. You guys, you divide it up however you want. Give Dave a reprieve for a week. Because I want to see what you guys come up with.
I'm not doing that.
No, come on. Come on. To our listeners, understand that I write these promos out. And
You're so good at it.
I guess.
Yeah.
I guess.
I think our sponsors would be disappointed if we switched at this point. They would be like, gosh, darn it. Why did they switch? I don't even know if I want to sponsor with them anymore.
Yeah.
We would be bad.
We would lose all that sponsorship money.
Just
It'd be
so
terrible.
Darn good at
Do
it.
you want me to write the promos that you guys will read?
No, I definitely don't.
Yeah. I choose writing my own. If we're forced to do something, I'm going to write my own.
Okay.
Somehow I get saddled yet again.
So I guess I'll say to the listeners, tune in next week to see if Nate and I are reading the promos or not.
Yes.
That will be the drama for next
It'll be
week.
interesting.
Suspense.
The suspense of it all. So, wrapping this up, we are live on Instagram and Facebook, and we'll have a post up when this episode is live. So go on and, like we said, talked about earlier, talk about nostalgia. Are you into nostalgia? Do you miss the good old days? And would you go back to 1985 if you could? Comment for us. We'd love to hear from you. Share this podcast anywhere you can. If you're listening through audio or on YouTube, share it out for us. We really, really appreciate it. We're trying to grow. We're growing leaps and bounds every week, which is awesome.
I know that we have listeners in Wisconsin now.
Wisconsin?
Yeah.
Yeah. We have one. There's a couple people overseas that are listening, so I'm assuming it's
Really?
like a...
Consistently from France.
Yeah.
At first,
Yeah.
at first I thought it was like a VPN or something like that. I
Yeah.
don't think so, because we have every episode had a handful of listeners from France.
Yeah.
You know what group of people we're huge with? The Dutch.
The Dutch?
I don't think so.
to our friend in France, voulez-vous mais c'est quoi? Who just speaking
Bon
French there.
anniversaire.
Let's all have some mushrooms. Huh?
This is my stinky cheese.
And we no longer have viewers from France.
American pig.
Review us on Apple Pod, Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio,
We do not heart the
them
Raiders.
Raiders. Vegas, baby.
iHeartRadio and Weezer. And that's it. Thank you, guys.
I believe you mean Deezer.
Is it Deezer?
Yeah, Weezer
Oh, yeah.
is an alternative rock
I
band
really
from the
should
90s.
I really should write that one down because it's not on my thing, so I always guess it. And so, yeah. So to all the geezers out there. Yep. Okay. Thank you very much. We'll be back next week. Big episode next week. I'm pretty excited to come out with it. We've been looking forward to this one for a long time. So tune in next week and you'll hear what that is. Thank you very much.
I guess we'll have to tune in too.
Yeah.
You will.